live from the Echo Network studios here in Royal Oak, Michigan. This is Odd Musings. I'm back live in the studio, no longer phoning it in. I'm Brett Pinson, the creator of Boomtown Scabs, The Adventures of Carl, as well as The Expendables at mybrettpinson.com. And I'm with...
Scott Zambelli here.
Yay!
Yay, it's me. I'm creator of Emmanuel God With Us, awesome Bible-based comic book series that I have issue 1 done. I think technically I have to finish issue 2 to call it a series. So working on that still, but
you have your first annual issue done.
Yeah, exactly that. And also Uber real estate agent at large. I don't know what that
real estate agent to the stars, or at least people in Michigan.
Yeah. Well, all of my clients are stars to me.
There you go.
So there you go. So happy Valentine's Day to everybody.
Yes, and, it is. It's Chocolate Day.
Yep.
International Chocolate Day. It's also funny thing I heard this morning. It is also international, or not international. It's more Missouri thing now. It's the invention of sliced bread day.
Really?
Yeah, 1927 in Chillicothe, Missouri, invented the first commercial sliced bread.
Oh, and as we know, everything since that, nothing's been invented better than that day, because everything since the invention of sliced bread.
And before that, you got to think about it. What was the thing they said to it? It was like, this is the greatest thing since what? I bet it was the greatest thing since they invented fire. Up to that point, and then it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. What will be next? I don't know.
Or maybe it was the greatest thing since unsliced bread.
Yeah. So it's an interesting day. It's also Ash Wednesday.
Ash Wednesday.
So happy Ash Wednesday to all our Catholic friends and all those that celebrate Ash Wednesday and are going to get their marks earlier or later or whatever.
For those of you who celebrate Mardi Gras, you're probably not up yet.
Which Mardi Gras stands for Fat Tuesday, which was yesterday, and I did, of course, get my punch keys.
Did you?
Yes.
I've been behaving, and
you've been sick.
Well, I was, but I stopped in. I finally recovered yesterday.
Yeah.
And was healthy enough to leave the house. I was in the house for 5 or 6 straight days. That was awful. But I got a lot of TV time in. But went in the office and they had tons of punch keys. But thankfully, somebody had brought in a box of Tim Hortons Timbits, so I had one Timbit. That was my Fat Tuesday.
I find this. I don't know the name of the bakery. It's a new one that we got turned on to. I guess it's been there for a while. It's in like I don't know what the actual address. I think it's Sumter still, near my house, and really good donuts. And then I went there yesterday, and they had really good punch keys. The authentic tasting punch keys. It didn't taste like a filled donut. It actually tastes like what punch keys should taste like. So
yeah, nice. Yeah,
and I got my favorite custard.
Yeah, because an actual punch key is different than a jelly donut or a filled donut.
Yes,
it's a much heavier consistency. If I remember correct, the main difference is the amount of eggs they use in the dough creation.
Yeah.
So it's a denser.
And it comes out more of a brown outer coating, and it's more solid. Right. It looks more solid, like you said, didn't it? So it's
a lot more calories.
And for those that listening elsewhere and don't know about punch keys,
for those out of the state. Now you did say Pennsylvania has a large Polish population.
Yeah, so I saw them in Pennsylvania, and people asked me if I knew what it was. I said, Michigan's big on punch keys.
Yeah.
Hamtramck is I think the capital in North America to get the best punch keys.
Yes.
They have the bakeries there that have been there forever. That still people will line up like 3 days before. They're camping out like it's Black Friday.
Right.
They're camping out for Fat Tuesday.
Oh yeah. And according to the news, one punch key, you have to do about 7 to 10 miles of running to burn off the one punch key. Yeah. So I ate 2. Yeah. So we'll get into that. I got to do a marathon. Yeah. We'll get into that a little bit later as far as why are they so filling? Why do they make them with so many calories? For Fat Tuesday. Yes. We'll get into that and how it ties to Lent and everything else. But how was your week? I had a pretty good week. As you know, I couldn't make it into the studio last week because of the nasty weather we had last. It was more ice last Wednesday than the snow that we got on Friday, which it took still 4 days to clear that up. So it's a good thing you were sick. You weren't going anywhere anyways. Yeah. But after I did the show that last Wednesday, we went to downtown Detroit because the roads had cleared up by then,
and I was with Mom and my cousin Cindy. We went and saw the musical Finding Neverland, which is still at the Fisher till Sunday through the 18th. And I'm a big fan of Peter Pan, and this, of course, is a musical version of how Peter Pan came about from J.M. Barrie.
Now, didn't they just have a movie called Finding Neverland?
It's about 12 years ago, and that was with Johnny Depp. It's been out for a long time. But yeah, I think that's where the inspiration for the musical came from, was the movie.
Okay.
And it basically tells the story of this playwright, J.M. Barrie, and he's basically struggling. The plays are all the same. It's a theater over in London on the West End, and this is in the late 1800s, almost 1900. And the theater owner in the musical, at least, I forget the movie because it's been a long time, is an American. And actually, that was played by John Davidson, who back in the 70s and 80s on all kinds of game shows, TV shows, movies.
Oh God,
that's incredible and stuff like that. And he played the old man. He was awesome. He had the best facial expressions. He played Captain Hook as well.
This is the movie you're talking about?
No, this is the play.
Oh, he's in the play.
In the play, yeah. Okay. He's in the touring production we saw.
Nice.
And really enjoyed it. And in fact, I liked it way more than I thought I would. And it actually helped convince me, and also my cousin Cindy and Mom, it's going to be showing in Toledo next year as part of this series. We weren't sure if we were going to get the series for Toledo next year because we were like, there's some things we want to see. We're not sure. After seeing it, it's like, yeah, we need to get the series. It's cheaper to get it because now I want to see Finding Neverland next year. They got Elf coming in, Les Miserables, and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Cool.
As well as Evita for that one. But also this week, I saw two musicals this week. I was down in Toledo for my series, and I saw Beautiful, the Carole King story, and that was phenomenal. They tell her, basically they cover her life from the time she's 16 years old and sells her first song through getting married and working with her husband. They met while doing songwriting and got married because she got pregnant, and all the way through their marriage, and then her coming out with her big album, which was Tapestry, which is the largest album she's ever had come out that she did herself. That was her singing, and won like 5 Grammys or something like that.
She does You're So Vain?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And a ton of, and actually when you're watching this thing, there's another singer or another group, a couple that does music writing also, and you recognize a lot of their songs. It's all from the 50s to the 60s, and a lot of cool songs came out that you didn't realize were written by these people for these other groups. And that's
always surprising how many people there are like that in the industry, where you know them for certain songs, but then you find out they did all this other stuff.
And you forget that back, especially in the 50s and 60s with rock and roll, a lot of the music was corporate driven, where they had specific lyricists and musicians that created the music for these bands.
Right.
The groups didn't make it. It started more with the way rock changed, like from the Beatles on, where more of the groups were actually just doing their own music, so they weren't writing with other people as much.
And it's kind of gone back to the old, like now bands are produced again.
Yeah, it's always done that. I think it always ebbs and flows on that, because you always have the record companies trying to put together these groups. I mean, if you look at a lot of stuff from the last 25 years especially, you had all these boy bands that came out and stuff like that. That was all produced by other people. They didn't do their own songs.
Well, I'm personally a fan of the whole, growing up 80s and 90s especially, the bands, there's something about the bands who, they start off working out of the garage, they're writing their own songs, it's their own experiences, and they grow to stardom by growing their brand through that grassroots effort. Right. And, that's why a band like Aerosmith, he still sounds amazing. He's time tested. By the time they made it, they already played tons of concerts, whereas now you get these bands where they're just cookie cutter put together. Well, you think about like Twisted Sister, friend of the show, Dee Snider, and same thing with them. He was an overnight success that took 15 years. Exactly. Yeah. Whereas now the overnight success literally is an overnight success because somebody just hired you and plugged you into. You look like you have groups like NSYNC and all these guys. They were put together by people. Spice Girls, they were literally put together strictly to be this band, and they had all the songs pre-written for them. So who are coming back together. Yeah, well, they're so popular, I guess. But hey, it makes me. I wonder if they'll change their names to Old Spice. The Old Spice Girls, Spiced Rum. I don't know. They're probably more like the Golden Spice Girls. The Golden Spice Girls. I like it. Now, besides those, I did go see Shape of Water yesterday, Guillermo del Toro's movie. Not getting too deep into it because I think it's a great movie. The premise of this movie is, in my opinion, and other people have said this too, is it's basically a continuation of the Creature of the Black Lagoon, but they don't talk about the actual creature
Creature of the Black Lagoon being from those movies. It's its own creature.
Because it's technically not part of the franchise.
Correct. It's basically if they were to capture the creature and bring it to a government facility.
This is Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, that starts off the movie. So it's giving nothing away at that point. The only thing is, it is a rated R. There is nudity and sexual situations, so don't take your kids to see it unless you want them to see full frontal female nudity, as well as a pretty rough sex scene at one point. And then talking about creature sex. So interspecies relations.
So how many Jeff Goldblums would you give this?
You know what? This was a really good movie. And I don't know.
Highly recommend?
Highly recommend.
Okay.
So I guess we give it like 4.5 Goldblums.
All right. So
out of 5 Goldblums.
Worth matinee price? Worth full price?
I think either one. It's they're showing less and less because it's been out for a while.
Right.
So you want to see it in the next few weeks. It's going to be gone soon.
All right.
It's definitely one of those movies I'm buying when it comes out because I really liked it a lot, and I want to see it again. And it's a different type of movie, but I like Guillermo's his work. Like Pan's Labyrinth. You know, he's that.
He's a very visual, intense,
and he has his own take on storytelling. I mean, it's almost got a polished look in the filmmaking, but at the same time, it's still got this grittiness to it. Yeah, that's really good. And I like the way he lights stuff.
Yeah, even in the past I've talked about it. He's also the force behind Troll Hunters, a really awesome animated series that I really enjoy.
And I'm still on first season, but I like that show too.
Yeah, great series.
Yeah.
So cool. So go see it based on Brett's recommendation. I've been wanting to see it. The thing is, I have to admit, the marketing for this movie did zero for me. I had no interest in seeing this movie at all. But all the word of mouth I've heard, what's interesting is the reviews. Mm-hmm. The marketing doesn't even touch on any of this, I don't think, based on what I saw.
Yeah.
But based on what everyone tells me, like, oh yeah, it's like a sequel to Creature from Black Lagoon. And all this. I'm like, well, that sounds like something I'd want to see.
Well, you can tell it's a love story from Guillermo for the Creature movies.
Yes.
And it's definitely worth seeing. And the gal that stars in it, I blank on her name right now. She's a mute, and so she doesn't talk. Yeah, she is fantastic. And then I mentioned Scott earlier with Doug Jones playing the creature.
Oh yeah.
And we both have met Doug at different shows over the years, and he's a wonderful guy. I love the guy. Every time you meet him, he's one of the nicest guys you could ever meet. But this was, I think, his best role ever. While he's always good with his expression, his contortions, and things like that, there's a way he conveyed the creature different from other roles he's done that really makes you almost fall in love with the creature.
He really becomes his character.
Yes.
Which for a lot of actors, having that much prosthetics on becomes a limit, but he finds a way to make it an asset to enhance it.
Yes. So. Yeah, it was fantastic. So definitely go see Shape of Water. Just keep in mind it is a rated R if you don't like certain things. And there's a lot of language too. So
Deadpool.
Yeah.
If you can see Deadpool, you can see.
just no unicorn scene. But you were sick and you were talking to me. You were watching something this past week.
Yeah. So I felt like I died. When I did the show last week, I was feeling fine, but then basically, excuse me, I had back-to-back issues happen, which turned it into a 6-day ordeal. But so during this time, I watched a ton of TV because there was not much else to do when you're just laying in a house for 5 or 6 days.
Yeah.
Altered Carbon. I mentioned that briefly last week. I finished that series. Really enjoyed it. It's an interesting thing. It really has the Blade Runner vibe to it.
Yeah.
The visuals are really done well. It's gotten an artsy feel to the storytelling, the way they do it. They do a great job with the characters and making them intriguing. What I found interesting, though, is how the storytelling is very slow-paced.
Yeah.
Very slow. Like I was telling Brett, with Game of Thrones, it's an hour goes by, the show ends. I'm like, that can't be done. It feels like 20 minutes. This show, even though I'm totally enjoying it, it feels like it's a 2-hour episode for 1 hour.
I watched the first episode and I really liked it. It's definitely Blade Runner-esque in a lot of ways. And I was telling Scott, I really liked the guy that's starring in it because I saw him on The Killing, which was on AMC and then transferred over to Netflix for its last season. And I like him as an actor. But yeah, after watching the first one, and it's about an hour for the first episode, I felt like I watched a 2-hour heavy movie.
Yeah.
And it was really good.
Right.
But I couldn't watch another episode. I had to switch over and watch something else.
Yeah, it's definitely not I mean, I guess you could, but it's not one where you're going to finish it in 2 days.
Yeah.
But they do such a good job, it's worth it.
Yeah.
And the payoff is good at the end. It's a 10-episode series. The ending is good and satisfying. And the way they end it, if the show doesn't continue, it's a good wrapped up story. But if it does continue, they definitely give a lot of ways that the story can move. So good job on that. I recommend Altered Carbon. It's definitely for ages 17 and up. So I wouldn't watch it with your kids. But yeah, watch it.
Yeah.
Other thing. Olympics. Olympics were this week.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. They did the team skating last week. I saw for figure skating. I didn't really get into that too much. It almost seems like they wanted to add more figure skating, so they did that. And I enjoy some of the figure skating, but they're doing the teams right now. Also, I was watching yesterday, and they had snowboarding going on right now. Shaun White won another gold. I like him. He's really good on that. He's doing the half pipe. So was the newcomer, Chloe Kim, 17-year-old Korean American. She's snowboarding for America, and she won, and she killed it. I guess her first run was just fantastic. Her second run, she had a little mess up, but she didn't need it. And then the third one, she said, "I'm just going full bore." And she went out and just crushed the competition.
Oh yeah.
And then, in fact, the top three, it was her, and then there was a girl from China got the silver, and then the bronze was American, so it was 2 out of the 3 were Americans for that. And that was awesome. And there's a lot of speed skating going on. Been enjoying some of that when I've watched it. I haven't kept up as much with everything I also got going on this past week, but I'll catch it when I can. I know Mom's been watching it. A lot of hockey. American hockey beat the Russians, females.
Female hockey.
Yeah, it was like, I turned on, I think it was like 1 or 2 to nothing, and then next thing you know, they scored like 2 more goals like in like a minute and a half.
I always enjoy watching the speed skating. They just fascinate me with how powerful they are with what they do. Yeah. But one thing I really need to happen in these Olympics, in all Olympics, is they have to have a special lane for like an average person. I want to see how I would look next to these guys on the ice. Because, like speed skating, it's so bizarre because they do such a long strokes with their skating and stuff. They don't look like they're going fast, but they're going like 30 miles per hour. So we need that real person in there just to give us that comparison so we can see how fast they're going.
The shuffle skate, fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's getting like 4 feet to their 3 laps.
The normal guy has to complete 1 lap in the time that they can do 4.
Yeah.
And if the guy can do that, then he wins.
Yeah.
that would make it interesting because then I would be able to see like, okay, I can now understand how fast they're going. Because when you watch it on TV, you don't get that sense of the speed that they're really doing. I mean, 30 miles per hour is fast.
Oh, yeah.
On your feet.
And they get moving. The control. Because, I mean, you can see sometimes when they wipe out, they go flying.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunately, I didn't see too many of those, but there's definitely that.
Yeah, well, that happened a lot in the short track where you have like groups, you got like 8 people on the ice at once, and one guy falls, and it's like bowling, and it takes out 4 others.
It's almost like roller derby at that point. They're like elbows and everything else.
Oh, yeah, and they can get kind of...
they get aggressive.
The thing that amazes me, too, is how sharp their blades are, that people aren't getting, like, killed, you know? But they were talking about how they actually have this layer of special material under the costumes that's cut-proof.
Okay.
So it's supposed to prevent that from happening. So
you still get the jugular, though.
Yeah, but nobody's attempting the move from Blades of Glory yet on the figure skating, which, you know, if you watch Blades of Glory, you could see it actually decapitated. For those who don't know, Blades of Glory is a Will Ferrell and Owen?
John Heater.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. From Napoleon Dynamite.
Napoleon Dynamite, They had that special move.
Yeah. Okay.
But, so Olympics are fun. And one last thing, you know, I do real estate, as I've mentioned before. I want to give a shout out to Jill, who is coming on board at Keller Williams. She's a friend of mine who's joining the team. She just passed her real estate state exam yesterday, so she'll be signing up with Keller Williams today. So congrats to you for that accomplishment. Look forward to working with you in future deals.
Awesome. Welcome to the team, Jill. And that, of course, speaking of teams, there's a great team over at Loringer Family Chiropractic. I was just there yesterday, and they are our sponsor for chiropractic care. And at Loringer Family Chiropractic Center PC, they do take great pride in providing the finest chiropractic care to each and every patient, offering on-site digital x-rays, massage therapy, orthotics by foot levelers, young living essential oils, aromatherapy, and a full line of vitamins, all in a family-oriented environment. Give them a call, 734-697-4244. They're located in Belleville, Michigan, as well as Dexter, Michigan. You can visit them at LoringerFamilyChiropractic.com. We do have a link at oddmusings.com under our sponsorship page. And as you all know, I'm a patient there, and Ashley, that's Scott's daughter, has been there and hoping to go back once the weather breaks a little bit. I got a massage last week, which was awesome. It really kind of relaxed me enough to get a better adjustment.
After a weekend of traveling and flying and all that.
Yep, and took mom in yesterday because she's not been feeling good. Because even when you're not feeling good, it's good to get an adjustment because it helps kind of get things flowing better, and your nerves and that need to be moving and not punched up, and that's part of what helps with that, to help things heal and for you to get over your illnesses as things are going on. Cool. But definitely check out Loringer Family Chiropractic, one of our favorite sponsors.
Definitely. Cool. And as we mentioned at the opening, today's Valentine's Day.
Yep, for all you suckers who celebrate it. Oh, I'm sorry. All you lovers.
All you unfortunate people who are shackled to somebody.
I'll quote some Little Mermaid. You poor unfortunate souls.
But Valentine's Day has definitely become what we commonly call a Hallmark holiday. But it does have a real origin to it that began all this long, long ago in a city far away.
Yes, long time ago. In a village in Rome.
In Rome, yeah. So the interesting thing is there's, in the Catholic sainthood, there's actually 3 Saint Valentines. Now, I don't know about the third one. Yeah. I don't know his story, but 2 of the Saint Valentines were actually both executed. What was the emperor's name?
That was, let me find it here for you.
Caesar or something.
It wasn't Caesar. It was like...
Caesar's should be the title.
They were all known by Caesars up to a point in that, but it was like Calla something or other.
Yeah. Ancient Rome emperor.
But that's centered of the note. Claudius. Emperor Claudius II.
That was it.
Yep. I knew I had it.
Of course. Good old Claude.
Yeah. Well, actually, after a certain point, I forget where the Caesars changed to emperor.
Yeah, you're correct. It did change.
And I think it had to do with Christianity.
Correct. So we had 2 different Saint Valentines at that time, and both were executed by Emperor Claudius, and both on the same day, February 14th, but in different years.
Yeah, they're different years.
And for different reasons. One of them, and we don't know which was which, since they both seem to be just Saint Valentine.
Valentine or Valentinus is what the names were. And they've kind of been combined by the Catholic Church as to one saint. Right. And I think it has to do with, it was still early, even though it's a couple hundred years into Christianity, it was still early in the Catholic history.
Well, they're still separate saints, but they're recognized together as one on this day. So basically, there was a decree, and correct me if I'm wrong, since you have the actual information in front of you. Actually, I'll let you say it, since why correct me?
Well, Emperor Claudius II decided that single men made better soldiers than those with wives and families, so he outlawed marriage for young men. Valentine, one of the Valentines that realized the injustice of the decree, defied Claudius, and continued to perform marriages for young lovers in secret. When his actions were discovered, Claudius ordered that he be put to death, which was on February 14th.
There you go. So that's the tie into love.
Yeah. Now, there is other stories tied into that, that he was also killed for attempting to help Christians escape harsh Roman prisons.
And this may or may not be the other Saint Valentine, because he was also executed.
Correct. And there was 3 tied into this, so we're not sure which one was which. We don't know which one. But according to one legend, an imprisoned Valentine actually sent the first Valentine greeting himself after he fell in love with a young girl, possibly his jailer's daughter, who visited him during his confinement. He signed the letter, "From your Valentine." So that's
hence your Valentine cards.
That led to the Valentine's cards. Yes.
Makes me wonder if maybe the creator and founder of Hallmark actually had a time machine and went back there and planted this information so that he could have an empire later on.
Yeah. Now, an interesting thing, though, about the whole celebrating of Valentine's Day, there was a pagan celebration called Lupercalia.
Yes.
And they do feel that the church tried to create this St. Valentine's feast day to replace the pagan celebration. And it's always celebrated at the Ides of February or February 15th. They just switched to February 14th.
That's just a lie, though.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Everything out there, they automatically go to, no, the Christians they created this fake holiday to take it over. That's not what happened.
Well, I don't think it was created a fake one to take over. I think it was more of incorporating existing celebrations.
Well, that's what they did. The truth is Christians have their own holidays, and what they would try to do is use the existing holidays as a way of getting the locals to understand their holiday, and then they would merge them.
Right.
But it wasn't that they invented a fake day, but that's the common theme now. Everything out there is, the secularist argument is, oh no, Christians just came up with this to hijack this pagan holiday. No,
I think it's just like anything. It was like, May the 4th has been with us forever, and it became Star Wars Day because it's awesome.
Well, yeah.
It's just tying all that stuff together. And people are already celebrating as different times. It's like, okay, we can, as things change and Christ came about, it's different changes than that.
Well, it's just good marketing.
It is.
When you have something and you want people to understand your thing, you're going to speak to them in the language they understand. If they already have an existing holiday that ties into yours already, you're going to use their understanding.
Yeah, and the Lupercalia ended up being banned at the end of the 5th century by Pope Gelasius. I don't know. He declared February 14th St. Valentine's Day back in the 5th century. So
there you go.
That's where that actually started with that.
Which actually does tie into a historical date of their deaths.
Right.
So
now, it's an interesting fact here is it does say that during the Middle Ages, it was commonly believed in France and England, which, if you remember our DNA thing, I've got a lot of France background on me, is that February 14th was the beginning of birds' mating season, which added to the idea that the middle of Valentine's Day should be a day for romance. That's where that got tied in there.
Those birds.
Yep. So Valentine's greetings, of course, have been popular as far back as the Middle Ages, though the written Valentines didn't appear until around 1400. So that was an interesting thing on that. So
also, the number of cards, it's the second most holiday for cards.
Yeah, it's over 1 billion cards will be sent for Valentine's Day. Now, I wonder how many of those are tied into the school giving, because that's like 30 kids a classroom and times that by X number of classroom. But this talks about mailing, so maybe they're dealing with actual mailed cards.
Do people actually mail things anymore?
Yeah, they do.
Do they?
Yeah. But for Christmas, over 2.6 billion cards are sent for Christmas. So while Christmas still is number one, Valentine's Day is not bad. It's a little bit less than half.
Oh,
but
billion's a lot of cards.
And of course, women do purchase approximately 85% of all Valentines.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
So that's an interesting fact there for you.
Which means 85% of men are in trouble? We're not buying.
Or, as I keep hearing anymore, all these women want to celebrate Galentine's Day, which is...
what's that?
We don't have a man, so we will celebrate Galentine's Day. Where the gals get together and drink wine and eat chocolate and complain about men, especially Scott Zambelli.
That's a possibility. Well, what I can say is out of those billion Valentine's Day cards, none of them are coming to me.
Oh, yeah. And I'm like Charlie Brown when I go check the mail today. We're like, no cards. And then that's what I watched that special, and I was telling you about that beforehand. You know what really made me mad is, one is he didn't get one Valentine's. Two, he goes out to mailbox like, then the girls come over, we feel bad we didn't give you one yesterday, so I scratched my name out, and here's my used one. And now he takes it, but Schroeder stands up for him. I'm like, go Schroeder. It's like, he's like, you think he wants your used dirty old Valentine? And Charlie Brown takes it because he's such a pathetic little guy.
Not to get off track, but that's the one thing a lot of people forget about the Peanuts is it kind of got hijacked by Snoopy, but it really was a commentary on the cruelties of childhood.
Yes.
In the original cartoons and everything, it was, Charlie Brown was that symbol of all the downside of childhood. But and speaking of the Valentine's, my personal memories of Valentine's Day, really, it's like the forced...
it was the forced giving in elementary school.
Yeah, that and the always stale little hearts with the be mine on it,
And then like junior high and high school is always at my school they sold flowers to give to somebody on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, and I never did that.
No, and then so I don't know. I never really celebrated Valentine's a few times here and there over the years. But you know what? It's an overpriced holiday, and I've always said this, and is if if you need a day to force me to tell you I love you, then there's a problem with you.
Yeah. Part I don't understand is the not to get in trouble, but I probably will. Is women.
I'm single right now, so it doesn't matter.
No, but like they go goo goo gaga over flowers and chocolate or something.
Yeah.
But that's like the most thoughtless gift a guy could give. It's like, I've put zero thought into this, so I'm just going to give you flowers and candy. There's no thought behind it. You're just
now
doing
it's all
the
about
default.
jewelry and Lexus.
Wow. Yeah, so I don't know.
Of course, now I think all these women last 3 years at least wanted some 50 Shades of something upside down.
Well, my ideal Valentine's Day gift would be like somebody purchased me the full Boba Fett costume for my trooping.
Yeah, from a company you like that does the costumes.
Oh, Novos. Yeah, I just want kits for my Star Wars trooping. Yeah, that's what I want. That's romance.
I want Amazon gift cards.
There you go. But yeah, I don't really have a great Valentine's background as far as that goes.
I don't either. I mean, and I think it comes out most people. You see a few here and there that they have to celebrate it. Most of the time I've seen it, and some people listen get upset with this. I'm sorry, but it seems like it's always forced. Like, oh, we have to do this, we have to do that, we have to go out. You need to spend X amount of dollars on me. It's like, what's it matter? I mean, it's overpriced. I mean, you look at flowers. Like for the last 2 weeks, the cost of roses are like $50 a dozen, and then starting tomorrow, it'll be back down to the regular price of $14.99.
That's the other thing I understand with the love of flowers. It's like, here's this beautiful thing that I plucked from the ground, so it will now die a slow death and wither before your eyes for the next 2 weeks on your kitchen table. Nothing says I love you like I've crushed this.
Now, of course, all our female audience members are going, that's why you're single.
Probably.
Yeah, well, that's why I still got money in my pocket. So
I just never understood flowers as a general thing.
I've given flowers over the years, and it's a nice gesture. People like the fresh cut flowers, and yes, they do wilt. You throw them away, stuff like that. But it's always been tied into roses, especially.
Now, Janice, of course, she found the perfect man, and he found the perfect woman.
Yeah.
She just posted that she got a Star Wars plushie bouquet.
Well, see, there you go.
From Think Geek. So there you go. That is romantic, and I'm sure that was followed with a "I love you" and Janice saying "I know." That's my prediction.
Exactly.
Yes.
And the whole time she was wearing her helmet.
There you go. Now, also, there is more recent history, too. There's a little bit of a bloody occurrence that occurred tied into
Al Capone, the Valentine's Day Massacre. It's kind of an infamous thing in the history of Chicago gangsterdom. And it was basically orchestrated by Al Capone. They killed some of the people from the North Side gang. It was basically the Irish gang was killed. Some of them were killed by the Italian gang from the South Side. And so it was kind of was a catapult of a lot of the bloody stuff going on in Chicago during Prohibition.
Yeah, this was these were
rival gangs
because they were making money off the illegal alcohol trade,
right?
And they were going in on each other's turf, and supposedly Al Capone's people. Well, actually, it was a third party, I think.
Yeah, there was another gang that was affiliated with Capone's gang that they basically sided with them that helped. And they killed 5 of the members of the gang and 2 affiliates.
They didn't just kill them. They lined them up and they filled them. They had Tommy guns.
Yeah, it was a garage. And they
filled them.
They had 2 shotguns and 2 Tommy guns. And they unloaded on these guys. Yeah. There was not much left.
Yeah. Now, the police could never prove it was Capone.
No.
But from my reading of it, this was where they made the choice where they had to get him somehow, and this is what eventually led him on the path to get him for tax evasion.
Right.
So,
which you can see all of that in the movie The Untouchables.
There you go.
Where you get Sean Connery.
Yeah.
He brought a knife to a gunfight.
He just brought him. I don't know if I should talk about this. I will.
Okay.
It's Valentine's Day.
It's Valentine's Day.
Dildos.
Okay.
So there was a video on Facebook. A guy brought a gun to a dildo fight and lost. A guy came into a sex shop with a gun to rob them, and the women started picking up dildos and throwing it at him and ended up chasing him out. So when you said brought a knife to a gunfight, that just popped in.
Were they there buying their Valentine's date?
I don't know. I don't know when this occured, but this was a video I watched while I was sick this last week, and I was laughing so hard. Oh my God. And the women were talking about how they never realized how handy these would come in. So, so don't bring a gun to a dildo fight.
Okay. Or try to rob a sex shop in the first place.
Yeah, that might be better. But, oh, well. I don't know how we transition to this.
It's because you've got a dirty mind on Valentine's
So let's
Day.
Just go straight to our awesome sponsor,
International Minute Press, located in Plymouth, Michigan at 1058 South Main Street in Plymouth, Michigan. They print, promote, and design you. I talked to Joe yesterday, and as we know, they are artist-owned and operated, and Joe and his team understand what it takes to build a team enthusiasm and brand awareness, and they're doing that through their new imprinted materials, such as t-shirts. He was talking to me yesterday about they can do the t-shirts now, and that's awesome. They're going to have hats, mugs, and more available through IMP of Plymouth. They are the company to help you. Contact them today for a competitive pricing quote. Mention Odd Musings to receive 20% off your next order, and they can do anything you want, from business cards to prints and now to actual physical product with your logos on it. So definitely check out International Minute Press. We do have a link on oddmusings.com under our sponsorship page, but they are located at myprinter.intlminutepress.com, and you can learn more about all the services they have available. And their phone number is 734-414-6203.
Awesome. We love their work.
Yep.
They did our banner.
They've done our prints for the shows.
A lot of other things. Their new shirt service is, I believe it's dye sublimation, and they'll be able to do full color.
They printing. Do. Yeah, there's like there's like a template or something they use, and they can make like 6 on one thing to keep the cost low.
Yeah, I think.
And you can get any type of shirt you want. So it's not just like you can only get like one brand name.
Actually, it might be direct to fabric printing too. I think
it's something he's got. Yeah. I have to go check it out. But
some newfangled technology.
Yeah. But he's telling me though, like if you have a brand of shirt, LFT said we can even get Nike shirts, and they're Nike swoosh, and they're off, and they can do that on those.
Nice.
But like Glidden or Hanes, stuff like that.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk to him and see what I can come up with, because I have some ideas for some cool stuff for my branding of my Keller Williams Lakeside gear that I want to come up with too for branding my own self as a realtor. So I'm definitely going to be talking to Joe soon about some of that.
Awesome. Now, besides being Valentine's Day, today is also Ash Wednesday, but yesterday was Mardi Gras, which means Fat Tuesday in French. And that's all. Of course, people now are just starting to slowly slog awake from all the revelry and partying down there in Bourbon Street in New Orleans.
You know why we have to say Fat Tuesday in French?
Why?
Because in English, we're fat every day.
Has nothing to do with the fact that the French founded New Orleans.
Yeah, I'm not fat just on Tuesdays.
It's a lifelong ambition to be fat every day.
That's right.
Yeah. But so yesterday was Mardi Gras, which was the last day of the celebration of basically it's like Carnival down in Rio. They also do these celebrations in like Brazil and Venice and other places around the country as well, the world. But as well
as New Orleans.
But New Orleans is the big one.
I was there a few years ago, the weekend before Mardi Gras.
Okay.
And that place was already rocking. So I can't imagine how it is the week
party for like 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And the week of, so they started like last week, and they do all the parades and everything else.
I woke up. I was at a Comic-Con in New Orleans. Yeah. And I woke up at 4 a.m. because it was so loud in the streets. I was on the 10th floor, and I woke up because it was so loud in the streets. It sounded like they were right outside my door. And this was the week before. Right. So I can't even imagine.
Yeah, well, it's a party. So I've never been to Mardi Gras or anything like that, but it's crazy down there.
And we were just talking too. There was a story about, because like all the beads and stuff.
Yep.
They just had a major problem with their sewer systems because the beads clogged up their sewer systems.
Yeah. So I'm going to come up with an invention to help save that.
Yeah.
And make $1 million.
But there is an actual, besides people flashing themselves for beads, there is an actual reason for Fat Tuesday. Yes. And that's because it ties into Lent.
Yeah.
And fasting.
Yeah, the celebration all leads up to with Fat Tuesday is kind of getting rid of all the fast stuff and getting ready to spend the next 40 days.
Yep. And trying to carb load.
Yep.
Going into a 40-day fasting period. So it's all about, getting those the calories in, which is with punchkis.
Right.
That's why you make a special dough that has extra calories, the more eggs and these type of things, because you're trying to get those calories in to get you through your fast.
Right. And it's like I mentioned there in the other segment about the Lupercalia, that's kind of tied into this as well.
Yes.
With the Ash Wednesday and Valentine's Day and all this stuff. It kind of there's a lot of it that goes together because it's all around the same time. Of course, it's on a lunar cycle, so it does change dates every year.
Yep.
For Mardi Gras, stuff like that. I have the date somewhere here, but it's definitely something that it can go anywhere from February, early February into early March. For the Mardi Gras for Fat Tuesday, depending on when Easter is.
Correct.
So that's how it's tied into it.
Yep, it's all based on the lunar calendar.
Yes.
Because we weren't always on the current calendar.
Right. But it's like for the New Orleans Mardi Gras, the first one was March 3rd, 1699, and it was when French explorers Pierre Le Moyne d'Iberville and Sieur de Bienville, that's French accents.
I don't know what that was.
They landed near present-day New Orleans, Louisiana. They held a small celebration and dubbed their landing spot Pointe du Mardi Gras. So it must have been around when Fat Tuesday would have been in that year, I guess, without looking it up. In the decades that followed, New Orleans and other French settlements began marking the holiday with street parties, masked balls, and lavish dinners. And then the Spanish took control of New Orleans. They abolished those rowdy rituals, and the bans remained in force until Louisiana became a U.S. state in 1812. So it took to then. And then Mardi Gras in 1827, a group of students donned colorful costumes and danced through the streets of New Orleans, emulating the revelry they observed while visiting Paris. So getting some of that going in there. Then 10 years later, the first recorded New Orleans Mardi Gras parade took place. It's a tradition that continues to this day. I guess there's a secret society called the Mystic Crew of Comus, which is one of the different crews. They could spell it Krewe for all these different crews. Like I saw one of the crews when I did the New Orleans show called Chewbacca's, which is a Star Wars themed Mardi Gras crew. And but one of the oldest is Rex, and it's one of those crews. They've been participating in the parade since 1872, and they were the ones that established the purple, gold, and green as the iconic Mardi Gras colors. Okay. So it's an interesting thing on that. But it's all a pre-Lenten festival, and just like Brazil has their Carnival.
I have a feeling though most of the people partaking, it's not pre-Lent. I don't think they're partaking in Lent at all.
Most of them are not Catholic. No. So they're not worried about I got to fast. No, they're down there to get drunk and get partied. And
I have a feeling it's really this week's party.
So that's basically, like I said, Mardi Gras itself it's celebrated on Fat Tuesday, which is French. Mardi Gras is French for Fat Tuesday.
So you spend the day getting your calories in, and that takes you over into Ash Wednesday, which is interesting enough. I always knew it was tied into Palm Sunday, but I always knew somehow the palms were burned for the ash.
Right.
But it always confused me because Palm Sunday is after Ash Wednesday. So what kind of shenanigans are going on here? Well,
it's a conspiracy.
So I finally, at the age of 44, decided I should finally look this up.
The whole point of our show is we're actually having to do research on this stuff. Yeah. We're like, I don't know about this. Let's find out.
I'm like, this has always confused me. So I look it up. Well, what it is now traditionally, now obviously it doesn't mean this is how it's always done.
Yeah.
But traditionally what it is the palms for Palm Sunday, which is just before Easter. It's the week before Easter, because it's the week when Christ entered Jerusalem for the last time, and he was greeted where they laid palms down as he entered into the city. The palms from Palm Sunday are saved, and the following year those palms are then burned for the ashes for Ash Wednesday.
Okay.
So that's where that comes in. And then that takes us into the start of Lent.
Yeah, which is 40 days of preparing for Easter. There's a lot of fasting involved, contemplation and prayer.
Yep, and it's 40 days long, and 40 itself is a very significant number in the Bible, and it actually shows up in the Bible 146 times, the number 40. And
I know a lot of people probably know, like Noah, it was the 40 days of rain for the flood.
Yep, and Moses, he was 40 days on the mountain, Mount Sinai, and he fasted for the 40 days while the tablets were being carved. Well, a lot of people don't realize, though.
I mean, when Charlton Heston went up there, they weren't like instantaneously hit by the lightning, and they...
Yeah, he was up there for 40 days, actually. And here's the thing that people don't get. So he fasted for 40 days during this time.
Yeah.
He comes down, and Aaron, who was the head priest at the time, allowed everyone, and I'm going off the memory here, so I might have slight incorrections, but the message is right. Comes down. Well, since Moses was up there so long, people started panicking, like, maybe he's not coming back, and what's going on, and we need a God to worship. So they all melted all their gold, and a golden calf came out of it.
Which you actually see in the Charlton Heston movie.
Yeah,
They just did it, and time-wise, it wasn't 40 days. It was like overnight.
So they started worshiping this golden calf. So Moses comes back down with the tablets, sees they're worshiping the golden calf. He smashes the tablets.
Yeah.
Which was kind of shown in Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
These 15
10 commandments.
So he smashes the tablets.
Yeah.
And then he has to go back up for another 40 days. So in a way, he did it in 80 days. Ooh, yeah. That's a lot of fasting. So anyways, I got sidetracked there. Now I got Mel Brooks in my head.
Significant of the 40.
Oh, yeah. So basically, the number 40 is symbolic of a time of testing, trial, or probation.
Yeah.
In the Bible, they wandered for 40 years before getting into the promised land.
Right.
And the reason for that was it had to do with generational sin because they doubted God. They weren't allowed in the promised land. Mm-hmm. And after 40 years, the previous generation had died off and they were allowed in. So the new generation was able to move in. So it's just interesting. And when it comes with fasting, there is an actual spiritual element to this. It's not just about, like, a lot of people want to use Lent as for instance, like, I'm going to cut out chocolate because I want to lose 10 pounds this 40 days. Well, that's not what fasting is about. It's about giving up the physical and so that your body can reconnect to your spiritual center. Yeah. And it gives you control over that. And by releasing that hold that the physical has on you, it allows you a deeper connection with God. So that's really the intent. It's not about dropping 40 pounds or 20 pounds or whatever, or I just got to eat healthier, so I'm going to cut this out. That's not what it's about. I mean, obviously it's nice if you do that, but it's really a spiritual component to it. Yeah. So there's my preaching.
But it's definitely, it's all a holiday. A lot of people, Ash Wednesday is leading into Lent, that people celebrate over through the Easter holiday, which we'll talk more about that. We're going to do, we were talking about one of our shows at the end of March will be a pre-recorded show because we'll both be traveling back from Anaheim, California for WonderCon, and we'll talk a little bit about Easter at that point and significance of that, as well as like the Easter Bunny and why we should kill Peter Rabbit.
Didn't that movie just come out?
Yeah, it looks horrible. I'm like, the trailer I saw, that I was like, and this is a sidebar, but I'm looking and going, yeah, Mr. Kellerman or Kellerman, I see Kellerman, whatever, Mr. Mick, whatever he is.
We're just gonna say Kellerman.
Yeah, Kellerman. I just saw Kellerman, so maybe say it because Janice is still watching. And he's supposed to be the bad guy because he hates the rabbit for eating his garden. I'm sitting going, no, he had it sectioned off. The rabbit's invading his area, and and of course this one the rabbit kind of doesn't talk to the humans, but the girl next door likes the rabbit, and that. But the rabbit's a jerk. They in the trailer they show him, they give him an analogy thing where he almost dies as an anaphylactic shock. He has to take a shot for it. They put him in the hospital. They're just beating him up. They electrocute him. I'm sitting going, these rabbits are evil. They need to die.
There you go. Put them in a soup.
Barbecue them, roast them.
Now, my most tragic memories as far as rabbits go is growing up. Remember the cartoon novel Watership Down?
Yes.
That was a scary cartoon when I was growing up.
It's definitely it's like Animal Farm. It's one of those. It's
actually a very
animals,
politically driven narrative, commentary on society and culture and all that. But I remember watching that thinking, oh, nice bunny cartoon, and like they're getting torn up by barbed wire and fighting, and it was brutal.
Yes.
So I haven't seen that in forever though.
It's been a long time. They used to show it around, I want to say like Thanksgiving or something, as a cartoon during the day or something like that.
Yeah.
Watership Down.
Yeah. definitely one to. It's probably not allowed anymore. People are too traumatized.
Probably not. I think I have the book somewhere. I haven't read it in many, many years. But
all right. Well, before we move on to our final segment of the show, the outro, where we talk about the amazing stuff of our following week, tell us a little bit about your art, Brett.
Well, I've been working on comic books. I got my Boomtown Scabs, which I'm working on issue 5. I did about 2 pages this week. I'm trying to get. I'm unfortunately I'm probably not going to have it done in time for WonderCon, but I'm working hard to try to get it done as quick as possible. But I will definitely have the other issues available there.
Awesome.
My Expendables is a trade I have available, as well as the Adventures of Carl. And then I'm working on. I have some fan art I've done, things like that. But I'm really progressing more into wanting to get more book stuff done. So after I get the Scabs 5 done, besides the stuff we're doing together, I've got other ideas I want to work on, and start getting more into that aspect again and get back into that direction.
Awesome.
For those that want to check me out, brettpinson.com. I still had to put my show schedule up there. I've been really lax on that.
We've been bad on. It's such a small schedule this year.
Well, and it's going to be a small schedule.
What's funny is small for us, though, is other artists I've talked to, they're like, I do 4 shows a year. And I'm thinking, oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I did 4 shows in a month last year. So, but yeah, I'm getting back to where the roots of why I like doing the Comic-Cons was creating my own products, creating my own, not just artwork, but it's about the books, my own characters.
We're restructuring our business model, and it's more going to be about what our creations instead of constant. Fan art is fun, and we're still going to do that, but it's not going to be fan art driven. Right. It's about what we want to create and bring to life. Yeah, and that's my goal. And that's is to have more and more of just my own product. And when people come and go, no, you don't have a Rick and Morty print anymore. It's like, no, I've got all my stuff. Yep. And hopefully people will like that too. Now, and you said your website? BrettPinson.com. All right. And that's Brett with 2 T's. Yes. BrettPinson.com. Brett's with 1 T are evil. Is that correct? Correct. Yeah. No, we paid extra for the second T. So. Oh, is that it? Yeah. Okay. I'm also, I have 2 websites, but they all go to the same spot. It's also boomtownpress.com. Boomtown has always been my imprint I've used with the comics. I've kind of tied it into my BP Creations, which is I've used on Facebook. So it's all one and the same. Whether it's Brett Pinson, boomtownpress.com, or if you see BP Creations on Facebook, you click the shop now, it takes you to my website. So, and are your social media links on your website? Yeah, I have my Facebook on there, and I think I got Twitter. It's at Brett Pinson for Twitter. I know I've got Instagram and I've got Tumblr, but I never use them, so I really haven't done much with those. Awesome. Eventually, I'll get some of that stuff going there. Also, as a side note, we set up a Connie the Comic-Con Mom page. So I do have a link for that on my webpage at brettpinson.com, so you can check out Mom when she does travels with us. She won't be with us in Anaheim, but she will be with me in Indiana the following week. And of course, she's going to make, as long as everything goes well and she's feeling better, hopefully she'll be with me at Great Lakes Comic-Con next weekend. Very good. So, and then you've got an art page going on as well as your real estate. Yeah, I've got 2 different things going. I've got my art page. I just have mine set up on Facebook. So if you go to facebook.com/The Art of Scott, or if you just search The Art of Scott Zambelli, you'll find that. Or go to our sponsors page. Go down to the bottom. You'll see links to our pages on there also. Yep. And then, so this week, even though I was super sick, I did get 4 more pages roughed out for the Oddlands. Awesome. That's Brett and I's co-creation, which unfortunately, just because of how events are in our private lives right now, it's not moving as fast as we want, but we are still moving forward, and that's what's important. Yep. So we're working on that, and outside of that, I've just been pouring a ton of time into my real estate. So if you go to scottzambelli.com, and that's my realtor page, or go to Realtor Scott Z on Facebook. Awesome. Yep, and you can look me up there, and I can help you out. And you're tied into the Keller Williams. Keller Williams Realty Lakeside in Shelby Township, Michigan is my broker. But no matter where you live in the country, you can still contact me, tell me your situation, and we are not just all over the country, but we also have many offices in other countries around the world. So contact me, tell me your situation. I can find the best agent for your situation. Awesome. That's great. Definitely. So coming up this week, tomorrow, I'm going to go see Black Panther. Yes, you're going to see it tomorrow evening. You got the fan experience? Yeah, it starts at 6 o'clock tomorrow. I'm going to be at the Imagine Theaters doing that. I guess I get a coin. Now, you did this with Doctor Strange. Yes. Too. Yep. It was obviously it was worth it.
I enjoy the fan thing. It's a little bit earlier. It starts at 6, and it was not much more than the regular price. I did it with Guardians too. Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay. Did a back-to-back fan experience.
That one, didn't you get a special I
got a poster with that one, and then
did you get a soundtrack or something?
Well, I won it during the trivia contest in between the movies, which was awesome because I was going to buy it anyway. So, so I'm seeing that tomorrow at 6. So I'm not going to do a review afterwards because Scott's going to go see it.
Matinee. I'm going to see it on Friday.
Okay.
So then we'll be posting a joint review. We're going to aim for sometime Friday, maybe later in the day.
Yeah, we'll figure out our schedules because I'll be working off and on all day Friday, and then once I'm settled in for the day, then we'll set up and do a split screen, kind of like we did the live video last week for the episode.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about, it'll have spoilers. We're going to just talk about Black Panther for a while, and so definitely tune in if you've already seen Black Panther, or wait till after you see it to watch the video later.
Yeah, because not only are we going to review Black Panther, we'll get into a larger discussion too about how it ties into where, because after this is Infinity War.
Right. So how is it going to tie into that?
Yeah. How the ending of this movie is going to be very crucial to what's the next step is. So yeah, looking forward to Black Panther. And what else we got going on?
We got a week from Friday is Friday night, and then all day Saturday is the Great Lakes Comic-Con over at Macomb Community College in Warren, Michigan here.
I'm looking forward to that. We got some that's always a great show. Looking forward to that.
It's also not as an expensive show as some other ones, so it's a great show to bring families out and not spend a ton of money to get in. I recommend if you're coming out, just come out on Saturday unless you want to do both day experience, so because Friday's fun, but it's only a few hours, and if you're driving out somewhere, it's only worth coming out for the one day.
And one last thing I want to point out, coming March 10th, a great organization has its annual event going on called St. Baldrick's.
Okay.
And they what they do is they have this huge event where downtown Romeo is totally taken over, and people get their heads shaved.
Okay.
And they raise money to do this, and the money goes all towards I believe it's childhood cancer.
Oh, okay.
And it's a great cause. Keller Williams is going to be there as an official sponsor to help raise money, but also the 501st is going to be there, and our own Alan Tong, he's going to be one of the ones getting their head shaved.
Awesome.
So he's raising money. They have goals of what they're going to raise. So if you go to stbaldricks.org, and that's stbaldricks.org, search for Great Lakes Garrison, and you'll see, I think there's 5 of us, not us because I'm not getting my head shaved. I'll be there as a stormtrooper, but Alan, along with I think 4 other of our members, are all going to get their head shaved to raise money. So if you want to donate, it's March 10th, but you can go online and make your donations now. They're doing a great thing. It goes to a great cause, and it takes a lot to just shave your head. I'm not doing it this year, but with how short I get my haircut, it doesn't seem like a great sacrifice. Right now it's long, but
so you're gonna be the real estate trooper?
Yeah, well, I'll be there with the 501st. I'll be going around being goofy with the kids and stuff, but usually Paws is there, and I think Rory too.
Awesome.
So
it sounds like a great event. We'll have to get a link up on the Facebook as well as the website.
Yeah, definitely. It's a fun event. I'm going to try to do some live streams from it when that comes, but that's March 10th. So if you're in the area, feel free to check it out. Support a great cause. There's great food there, some awesome vendors who are all sponsors, and it's a good time.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that about wraps it up for today.
All right.
I think anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think my voice is going.
I was about to say. Hey, it was great to be back live in studio, and hopefully it looks like I'll be back next week. It's going to be in the 40s for several days over the next week, getting rid of all this crappy snow we had.
Oh, God, yeah.
And that, but until next time, Dominic, take us out, man.